All right, we can get started.
Good evening, everybody. We'll start the meeting at 5:40. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Monzon,
Here.
Vice Chair Yuen,
Here.
Commissioner Abarca,
Here.
Commissioner Fung,
Present.
and Commissioner Malfatti.
Here.
Okay, thank you.
Agenda review.
We do not have any changes to the agenda that I have been notified of.
Okay. Oral communications, public comments.
We have not received any phone calls or emails for the public comments.
Thank you. Public hearing items. And administrative items.
Chair Monzon, I believe we need to do the approval of the meeting minutes from July 14.
Okay, go back. Any motion for the minutes approval for July 14?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of July 14th.
And I make a second.
Administrative items.
Sorry, we need to do a roll call for approval of the minutes as well.
Sorry about that. Okay, roll call for the approval of the minutes. Chairperson Monzon,
Yeah.
Vice Chairperson Nguyen,
Yes.
Commissioner Abarca,
Yes.
Commissioner Fung,
Yes.
and Commissioner Malfatti.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, items from staff. Item number 1, update on outdoor dining pilot program. Christopher Espiritu, Secretary to the Traffic Safety Commission.
Again, thank you for your time and good evening, everyone. Just as the Park and Place Commission previously have heard, we have begun implementation of the outdoor dining pilot program in the last few weeks. And as of actually by this Friday, we will have hit our program capacity of about 10 or so businesses that have initially applied. And it was a fairly quick turnaround into getting a lot of applications. And so now if you have been to the downtown area of Grand Avenue and Linden, you would have seen platforms being built, some shade structure to provide some shelter from the elements. And then in general, like a lot of spaces have begun serving and being made available for outdoor dining. So as far as we know, that the program is working. It's been a great help for businesses. And we had one of our colleagues at Economic and Community Development to go down and kind of just monitor and see how business had picked up, especially this weekend, given the holiday. And there were a lot of people. People were, there, even with the smoke in the air from the wildfires, people had, they found that window where it wasn't too intrusive, then they could eat outside. So as far as we know, the program is working. And given that we are at the capacity of our program for 10 businesses or 70 of these water-filled barriers to provide that separation from the oncoming traffic and the outdoor dining space, we are in the process of procuring another 70 barriers, or about another 10 businesses, just to ensure that anyone who wants to participate, anyone who wants to set up their outdoor dining similar to what these businesses have done, that they have the chance to do so, especially because indoor dining is just not coming back at this point. So we have a 90-day program that we are looking to expand for another potentially 90 days, but that hasn't been finalized yet. So that's something that we'll report on and consider in the next meeting. But essentially, we have at least a good 90 days to help the businesses in the downtown or anywhere else in the city. We just haven't had any applications from outside of downtown yet. So the outdoor dining thing is working. So it's something that we're cognizant that we knew it would work. We just didn't know it would work this well. So we're very happy with the results.
Thank you, Chris. Any items from the staff?
Another item that we have, actually, we just wanted to debrief the entire group. I know most of you in the Traffic Safety Commission was there with us on the special meeting on August 27th for the little site visit to the completed Rails to Trails. I know, and it was, I just wanted to say, like something I said previously at the other meeting, I'm very proud of this commission because 4 out of the 5 of you showed up, and we didn't think that we would have. We thought that BPAC would have more commissioners showing up, so I'm very proud of all of you. So thank you for making the time. But as you can see, these are some of the photos that actually Salish had taken on a previous tour of it, and just showing exactly what most of you have seen: paved path. Permeable surfaces to make sure that drainage flows, unimpeded, and then the lighting along this section of the trail, and that's essentially the beginning of a lot more of this type of amenity behind. In place of the old rail spurs. So it's been a good addition to available space for the public, and we have projects coming down the pipe that are going to continue this type of aesthetic and usability. So it's something to look forward to over the next few years as these projects continue to develop around these areas.
Okay, can I have one question? Can you go back to the first slide, please?
The outdoor dining?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I was wondering, like I see the picture on the Amora that he have the table on the sidewalk. Practically the part of the street which is like a make for the tables is empty. I was wondering, like I thought that the part of the street which we are taking it out, there has supposed to be the tables only.
Right. The part, especially for Amora, they are allowed to set up tables as part of their outdoor dining on the parking space, and as well as sidewalk seating. For sidewalk seating, we just wanted to ensure that the path of travel is 5 feet per. That was the width that ourselves in planning and code enforcement and public works had arrived at to ensure ADA path of travel accessibility and free flow of travel on the sidewalk. So again, like, it's a matter of like perspective and angle, but as we were approving Amora's dining space, we had the applicant and the operator measure out from the edge of the table out to the rest of the sidewalk, and that is 5 feet. And I think even a little bit more. So, yeah.
But that's one. Go ahead. Very quickly add to that, Commissioner Abarca, this is Salish. When that picture was taken, I think Amora had just installed that raised platform. So they were waiting for the paint to dry on the plywood before they could stage their tables and street furniture, umbrellas and whatnot. So we'll get you an updated photo that shows the finished product.
Okay, fantastic, great, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Any items from the commission?
Actually,
I'm sorry, we have, oh, sorry, one more item. Item number 3, Glideways. Chris Espiritu, Secretary to the Traffic Safety Commission.
Give me one moment to get this up. All right, so I just wanted to speak briefly. I know on the site visit, the item of the topic of glideways came up. It's one of these new technologies that we are exploring. It's not something that we're slating for construction just yet. It is a developing technology that we wanted to just show the Traffic Safety Commission, given the interest. So glideways is it's a South San Francisco autonomous transit vehicle company and their main purpose is to reach the last mile of transportation between regional transit and other points of interest, such as employers or residences. In this case, they are looking to connect the last mile between our regional transit access, which is our ferry terminal in the east of 101, and our Caltrain station that is being revamped. And between that is to connect any available points between those two and connect and have this become available for workers and even for any of the members of the public that wants to ride it to these other points. So these are essentially small pod cars that contain up to about like 2 and sometimes to about 4 people. They run exclusively on their own, sometimes elevated or separated guideway. They're not necessarily on rails, but they are on dedicated about tracks of about 6 feet each direction, so about 12 feet or so. These are meant to be on demand and autonomous and are all electric, so they would not be using, and I think it's battery operated, so they would not be using constant electricity that have the opportunity to kind of break down. This is a developing technology that we are looking to explore further. And with the project, there is, so just wanted to give you a look at the configuration types, where it lands. So it's meant to be on demand 24 hours a day. Again, there is no driver. It is completely robotics controlled, and it doesn't. It's fully controlled by app. So again, one of their selling points to this technology is that it can achieve a lot more efficiencies than your normal public transit systems. And given that this is meant to address the last mile connectivity, especially in the east of 101, it is something that we as a city have been curious about. So it's something that we are pursuing, especially because it is environmentally sustainable. We don't need diesel vehicles or extensive electric vehicles to operate this. So Glideways is a South San Francisco company that is looking to establish that that pilot here, but they are in the process of obtaining their California Public Utilities Commission licensing and to develop their proof of concept. And that is currently being done out in Concord. That's where they're developing the I think at scale proof of concept track and the vehicles themselves. And they are also looking to address last mile connectivity issues, especially in the South Bay and also in Antioch and Oakley, and to bridge more people to regional transit such as BART stations. So for South San Francisco, I'll just show you their pilot project. So they have it in the Oakley from Amtrak to BART, because there is very limited connectivity there. Next to the from the North Concord BART to the regional park is actually one of those ideas they're planning to do out in Concord. And here, it's essentially a 1.85 mile track between the South San Francisco Ferry Terminal, possible stops within Genentech, and the South San Francisco Caltrain station. So just to kind of give you a rough outline of where that might be, it would be running from the ferry terminal and then along Forbes and then down to the Caltrain station. So that is the 1.85 mile pilot track that is being not necessarily proposed, but it's the key idea in pursuing this technology. And there were other iterations of other routes that they could use, but it looks like Forbes might be the most direct. And part of the reason why this came up is because there is an idea, and if you'll see the purple line on this map, is to actually use part of the rails to trail segments that we walked on as a place for them to set up this fixed guideway system. Not necessarily on the trail itself. It would possibly be hovering above that. So that is the idea that is being floated, but again, nothing is certain at this point in time. So one of the key areas is to connect, to again, address that last mile connectivity between the ferry terminal, employment centers in east of 101, and the Caltrain station. So one of the proposed areas to land this technology is to directly service the Caltrain station. And part of that would be to use existing areas that are underused and to basically convert that to an active use space where it could serve as a secondary transit hub for these glideways vehicles. And actually, I'll take any questions on glideways. Let me put that slide back up.
It's look cute. I like it a lot. Like it's really like a cute.
Yeah.
But I have actually question, play devil advocate. People are crazy. Don't you are afraid that somebody will step in front of the vehicle and will get car accident because if I understand, there is not a driver, and how this stuff will be. So how they are thinking about it solving.
Right. For the majority of let's focus on the 1.85 mile segment of glideways that they're looking to put on the street. Let's say they did that. It actually would not be mixing in with other vehicles. It would be on its own fixed guideway. It would have its own facility. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the key reasons why they are able to achieve up to 30 miles per hour between points and be able to move people, like a greater number of people on demand. It's because it's in their own essentially right of way, and they won't have to deal with that safety concern. Of course, when it comes back down into the station right? Then that's something to consider. But that's why, you know, it's something that we're pursuing to see in terms of right-of-way considerations where that can be more efficiently done. So that's one of those things we are looking into.
Nice. It's really nice. I like it.
Other questions?
It is.
That's pretty much the future of cars, is that autonomous car thing. I was just wondering, it says estimated cost 30 million. Am I reading that right? Do you think you could ever recover the cost of that through ridership?
There's no answer to that right now. So at this point in time, we know that this technology is something that we want to look at, because even at 30 million, we are seeing that at 30 million, when we want to, let's say, for example, have Samtrans extend bus service to the east of 101 to connect these 2 points for regional rail, it's not going to be 30 million. It's going to be much more than that typically. So we're looking for the most cost-effective ways, because when you do a new bus service, you're committing more time, more expenditures, capital expenditures on Samtrans, and it never would be typically as low as 30 million. So it's something that our discussions with the Glideways folks, that it's something that can be recouped, because that's something that they're anticipating a lot of the ridership that would take advantage of this, especially because it connects the ferry to the East Bay, to Vallejo, or other points. And then now and then Caltrain to everywhere else that Caltrain runs, that there is that ridership demand. So that's something that we will be looking into. So it would be a good time to let you know that where we are in the process is our next step would be to start preparing a feasibility study to ensure that this is something that one would be cost effective for the city, that we would have enough demand for the ridership to, you know, make sure that this pencils out, and all the other considerations on right of way, especially if we have to construct, you know, like a fixed guideway to accommodate this, and where the cost effectiveness is going to land if we try to do something like this.
Thanks, Chris. And I had just one more question. Do you know other cities who've already implemented this program, and how sturdy and return on investment are those little cars?
So this would be one of those avant-garde, brand new things that we would be one of the first cities to implement something like this. The closest we can point to are in actually Miami and Jacksonville, where they have automated guideway transit, but it's not as fully developed and not as it's almost an apples to oranges comparison, but it's the same type of technology. And obviously internationally there are examples of that, like for example, like in Dubai, but that's because there's just it's a free-for-all on tech innovation and allowing that out there. So here it's more, we have to be mindful of our constituents. We want to make sure that we're fiscally responsible. So, you know, we're keeping that in mind, that this would be one of those brand new technologies that would be in place, but it would put us in a map if we were to do it successfully.
Yeah, I think it's good that you pilot this, because for the area and the use, and I think it's good.
Yeah. Other questions? Commissioner Yuan?
Yeah, I just had a question. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I missed this in your presentation or in Jalene's question, but that $30 million cost, is that being funded entirely by Glideways, or is that going to also require a buy-in from the city and from the businesses that the route serves?
It will be a combination of all three. So there will be some, yeah, and that's something that we will try to figure out with the feasibility study, is that how much will this cost us as a city before we can even pursue like any kind of right-of-way acquisition or any kind of right-of-way development.
And so this route, so you're saying that it's going to be elevated for the most part over so where this route goes along the Bay Trail and along Forbes and Grand, so it's going to be, so if I'm understanding correctly, it's going to be an elevated track over the roadway then.
Yes.
For that.
Yeah.
For the route. Oh wow.
Yeah. It's ambitious.
That'll be it'll be interesting to see. This is one of those revolutionary, transit technologies that that I think I'm really looking forward to seeing implemented, in our city, and so I hope the feasibility study, is able to justify something like this, because I think there's a lot of benefit, and even after this pandemic, I'm sure Oyster Point will, there'll be a lot of workers returning to Oyster Point, and so something like this in the long term, I think it will be something that'll be really valuable to reduce car trips out there in that area. So so I'm looking forward to seeing what'll come out of it.
Okay.
Hi Chris, this is Evelyn. Justin just asked the question I wanted to ask, which was the elevation. I have an add-on to that. For the elevation, when it does happen, will that take over, I guess, a car lane or both sides? Like, that was my question.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not meant to take over a car lane so that there won't be a car lane there. It's meant to just separate itself, so it would hover above it or beside it. I don't know if their packet had that kind of concept. No, I don't think that was in this one.
Yeah, that was my question. I was like, they're all on the ground.
Yeah, I know.
so are they taking over the bike lane, the
No.
lane from the? Yeah, that's why.
Right. The idea is to run parallel to that roadway, either parallel to the roadway in its own facility or elevated above it. But it's never meant to take away those existing facilities, especially the ones that we plan for, such as bike lanes and maintaining travel lanes, because like post-pandemic, that's the thing that transportation planners and engineers are cognizant of that's coming, is that traffic will return, and it will return with a vengeance. So it's something that's why solutions like this or concepts like this are just a little bit more palatable at this time, because we want to be able to answer that call that there's going to be traffic, but this one is not on it. So yeah, it's not meant to replace a bike lane either, because we also don't want that.
So thank you.
Any other questions?
Sure. I just had one more question. So the feasibility study, is it going to take into account the I guess the uncertain future of that Caltrain is facing right now? Because I'm not sure if you've all been following in the news, but Caltrain is on a slippery slope in terms of its funding, and it's facing some threats to its operations that are largely of a political origin. So I'm just curious if the study will take into account the situation that Caltrain is facing now, in terms of being able to sustain its funding and keep itself operating in the long term.
In a sense, yes. As we develop the goals and the topics for this feasibility study, we wanted to be cognizant of exactly what's happening now. So if the Traffic Safety Commission is unaware, entities like Caltrain versus BART has a dedicated funding mechanism that keeps it in operation, funds it regardless of what happens in the economy. Whereas Caltrain is dependent entirely on fare box returns, on the people writing it. and there's no tax measure, there's no sales tax that's keeping it alive, and it's, you know, like I think wholly dependent on the people riding Caltrain. And so now Caltrain is at maybe, you know, less than 30% capacity. And that's what Commissioner Yuen is alluding to, is that we have, you know, like, will there be people riding Caltrain to connect to this and into the last mile to the ferry or to the employment centers? And it's something that we're making sure we address. One of the questions we're asking is that, is Caltrain the right second point to this system? Maybe it is. It has to connect from the ferry terminal to BART, let's say, because that's something that we want to find out if that might be more cost effective, and at the same time more, induce additional demand for ridership that will actually sustain this glideway system. So that's, we're aware of that, but thank you for bringing that up. So.
Okay, my question is, didn't we build all the building around the Caltrain there in the old city because we was thinking about it that the people will start to drive Caltrain? This is why we are building the new building now.
Right. No, I know it's a fair point, but you know, we've never been in a pandemic in our modern age, so that completely upended everything. So we're hoping things will, you know, kind of return to some kind of normal for public transit itself, but it may be slower than we think it would be. So it's something to really consider.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Right.
All right, shall we move on? So I believe that is it for items from staff.
Chris, was I seeing the wrong thing? For some reason, I thought that you were going to update us on the aligning day between BPAC and these commissions. Did I see that wrong?
That might have been a previous agenda, but I can give you an update. So right now, all of our meetings are occurring at the same time, same place right now. We haven't made any moves to made any moves to change the time yet. Only because that includes an action that the city council has to approve. So just because of the staff bandwidth and capacity, we are busy on outdoor dining and glideways. So it's more a factor of that. So we haven't made any changes to our meeting times or schedules just yet. But if we do initiate that work, we'll make sure to update this committee, this commission, and the Parking Place Commission that we're taking that item to council. So it'll still be there's going to be plenty of time to get adjusted to it.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. No more comments from the commission? All right. Chris, Elish, Jen, thank you so much for all the updates. And we'll adjourn the meeting. Please stay safe.
All right, thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
all you
much.
do. Take
Thank
care.
you.